And we're recording Marcus DQ Lifestyle Podcast. This doesn't sound right. Anyway, we're recording DQ Lifestyle Podcast. And today we're going to talk about controlling and dominating behaviour. Camera quality might have switched up again. I know it switched up a couple of times. I apologise. Other cameras not cutting it to me. The processing is just mad. Where I can just use this one. This one's right as rain. I just wanted something that could give a bit more depth of field. But I'm back to this one. Anyway. So we're going to talk about controlling and dominating behaviour. In the difficult controlling emotions, I realised afterwards that I didn't even touch on childhood. I didn't even blast my parents. What's an episode if I'm not sending off Woolly up a shot round there straight to the pass? You know, is it? No, it's not about that. Big up my mum, big up my dad. Do you know what I mean? Because they are why I am who I am now. So, okay. All my... In a nutshell, my physical attributes will be down to my dad. And my curiosity, which leads to like learning, will come down to my mum. So as much as I'm saying X, Y, and Z about them, they are what made me be able to become who I am. And all the other stuff that's like positive in my life is I'm their child. I'm their genetics, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so as much as I'm talking of like nurturing, the nature side is what's allowed me to grow. So thanks for the genetics. Yeah, so I forgot to talk about my childhood and the difficulty controlling emotions. So with my mum and my dad, it's pretty much similar things in a sense. So sort of my dad would, you know, it was either literally okay, kind of happy, or angry. Now the okay and kind of happy was kind of in one, but like I'm saying kind of happy by like, you know, I'm laughing. It's not like he was walking around doom and gloom. My dad wasn't a school-faced guy, he'd just be normal. And he'd be like, bossing, you know, we always have music, and I got my musical sense from him. All my music's from him. He just give me beer music, I think I was touching it before, beer CDs, I always have a big stack. I'm saying like that, but it was in plastic sleeves. It wasn't in the proper... Whoa, can you see all that shit there? This is the office, as well as Dublin as a studio, so, you know what I mean? Forgive me. Where was I? Might have to put something there, just in case, you know what I mean? Legals. Anyway, musical interest come from him, so all that music is always been like messing about, like, yeah, anyway, busting the lyrics and that, and we're both just head nodding, hey, yeah, we're like, to some sick tunes. I'm listening to some jazz thing one time. I'm like, who's this? Oh no, he must have gone to me. Oh, give me that tape son or something or whatever. Think about that tape days. The tape days when you had a CD player that was like external, and you put a tape in the tape player that had like a wire from it, and then you had like a CD man that played. How did that tape play that? See, that was mental technology. Yeah, so he goes, give me that. I looked at it, Marcus Muller. He goes, Marcus Muller. He goes, yeah, you're named after him, son. Do you know what I mean? I thought Marcus Garvey. Do you know what I mean? No, so like Marcus Miller, like one of his favourite. And what is Marcus Miller? I don't know if you know of the films like Booty Call and a few early like black films. He's done the score, which is like the music to the film. So you'll see Marcus Miller's name. Maybe like How to Be a Player, Booty Call. Couple things still. Anyway. So he was like a jovial type man to a degree. Like I say, he wasn't like walking around school face or angry or anything. It's just when he was angry. It's mad as well because my dad stuttered to death, bad stutter, yeah. And if he rocked up to house, he didn't live with us. If he rocked up to house, yeah, and that man's not stuttering, it's like, oh, what is it? Oh, you didn't know what it is anyway because the guy's banging the door. The guy's 22 stone, muscle, 6-pack. The guy's just mad strong. It's just the way he knocked on the door was mental. Like for any door, he could have just gone like where we got to go like so. He probably just needed to do like that, but no, boom, boom, boom. Like the door's just like. Anyway, you know it seems. I'm not know what I'm saying. Who is it? Like we didn't know. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, and if he come in house and he's like, Marcus, come here. Or where's your brother? Instead of, where's your bro? Yo, bro, if he comes in, because you don't even know, you just look at him, see him, you can't tell anything's different. You turn around and be like, where's your brother? You think, no, like Bad Boys, when they just turn around in slow motion, all the background's like, you look at him and say, yo, it's there. It's in garden. It's in garden. Robert. I want to shout them, man, Anyway. What else? Okay then, so we're talking about difficult controlling emotions. This is overlapping. This is supposed to be the fucking controlling domineering when we get into that. I can't go on too long because the camera, it eat up on me. I've got to break now because before I was carrying on and it's just cutting off. I didn't even know. So, gonna have a break, let the camera cool down. We'll come back in. So I might even do that. I might even continue this difficult controlling emotions. And when I finish this, have a break and then come back and do the controlling and domineering one. Because that's what all you are, you little bastard, yo. I'm only joking. You're the people, man. You're the people still. Anyway. So, Dad's alright or he's angry. He's alright or he's angry. When he's angry, there's no discussion. I've been chiming on about if I can't chat to man, there's no point having a discussion and me just gone. Or, literally, the only way I'm putting hands on people, if any man puts a hand on me, the one's there. Self-defense. Because if I turn up to the court again, yeah. So I got a 4-year free, first time. On a guilty plea. Did 2 years, 6 weeks, yeah. Not long, back in again. Got 8.5. Extended determinate sentence, what they call it, EDS. It's a public protection thing. Extended 2.5 years, yeah. So it's 11. But I don't do half, I do 2/3. I did some recall time because of the previous sentence that so instead of doing 5 year 8, I think it should have been, out of that 8.5, that's 2/3, 5 year 8. I did 6 year 1 month. So that's triple last time. I said, Lord, if me have to mash up a man and then me go to court and then just look at me and then flip through. What you know? I'm not impressed. With a wig there. Yo, man, look upon me seriously with a wig. Yo. Anyway, and the man, sorry if it's a bit loud. Wait, which one? Yo. Yeah, so the man's just gonna go sick upon me and I'm a triple eating. I will serve triple. Do you get it? Like, they will have me serving. So that's like 18 years behind the door, brother. Forget all that. Man's done like after 20s, after 30s. It has to be self-defense, lad. Trust me. Stuff from law, man. Have to just, Jano, trust me. That's stuff from law, brothers. So when I turn up, I'm just smiling. It's like Mr. DQ and Q. I'm like, I'm like, what? It's like, why are you smiling? Self-defense. Going mental in the fucking whatever in the dock, do you know what I mean? Maniacally laughing because I know it's I walk out, I walk in and I walk out. Oh, man, I lick a rica, me out of there. I just look on the post and I say, yo, you started it. You know what I mean? Anyway, got mental there. Don't advocate for violence still. But anyway, back to daddy, ego mad. And there's no chatting to man. And that's it. So I know to get angry and act out aggressively, intimidatingly. It didn't even really raise his voice like that. It'd just be like some silent thing and he'd mash up something. Whatever, you know what I mean? That's that anyway. That's him. So you can see where I got that bit from, because there was no one taught me emotional intelligence, because they didn't have emotional intelligence themselves. They say people that are emotionally intelligent are more intelligent than intelligent people. Let's just say, for example, the difference between Sheldon Cooper and Leonard Hofstadter. They're both smart, but he's got the super IQ. Sheldon. he's not got no EQ. IQ is intelligence quotient. It's like the measurement of intelligence, and then EQ, emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. He's got a very low EQ, Sheldon. He's got the IQ, Leonard, but he's also got quite a high EQ, so he can kind of explain things because it's just how you are with people. Your EQ kind of shows how you are with people, how good you are with people. And that will get you further in the way this life is now. It will get you further in life, having good emotional intelligence and being able to work with people rather than against them. Because having no EQ can kind of rub people up the wrong way and stuff. Sometimes it's your issue, sometimes it's their issue. But at the end of the day, there's an issue, regardless of whose it is. Do you know what I mean? So EQ, they didn't have the EQ, so they didn't teach me no EQ. So back to my mum. Dad's got obviously his traumas or whatever, and he's going through whatever's going on for him. Everyone's traumatized, so that's his reaction, and he didn't get taught no EQ, and that's kind of the University of Life thing I spoke about before. Which episode was that? Relationship instability, I believe it was. Episode 14 possibly. And yeah, so that's kind of where it is. It's just the emotional intelligence bit, being able to sit down and talk to you. Thing is, one thing I like when I watch like Tiger Woods story on Tiger Woods, when it shows you him and his dad's relationship, like when it shows you like footage of him on the green, like when they're playing golf, his dad never looked down at him. That's like a subliminal thing. Someone looking down at you and you looking up at somebody, yeah, it's a kind of subliminal. It shows like the levels, like I'm lower than this person. So the man, his dad would come down onto one knee and look his son in the eye and explain things to him. And that's like peer to peer. That's us on a certain level. That's me above you. I'm putting one hand, for listeners, I'm putting one hand above the other, showing that's me above you. Now I'm reversing it with the other hand above my hand, like, well, both my hands. They're both my hands. So the other hand is that the other person, the one closest to me is me, and that's them above me. And it's all about, so that's another model that was used on the TC that I was on, Therapeutic Community. I can't remember what it's called now. But there's different levels. So there's the child, the adult, the parent. The adult is where we want to be. The adult is where we're taking in all information. We're taking in all information. We're understanding it. Understanding how it's making us feel. Understanding how it's making them feel. Understanding the dynamics of what may happen if there's other people in the room or there's other things going off like this. It's a situation. Like that decision might make it worse. That decision might make it better. Understand what the other person going through, if I said that already. And coming to a conclusion and responding accordingly. So when I'm talking about response to reaction, reactions like, I feel like this, blah, 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 blah. Like literally, do you know what I mean? Like literally respond, feeling away and just reacting how you've always reacted, or yeah, that started from somewhere, childhood. Whereas and that's like being a child. Reacting is the child position, which is the low position. The parent, it's not the high position, but it's the authoritarian position. So like people like teachers were in the parent position. They're looking down on us. And it's bare miscommunication. So adult to adult is effective communication. And that's part of the reasons, like, I touched on it yesterday, which you don't know, but I touched on it in the last episode. So I'll carry on. I started, so I'll finish. Like, my son's mum. There was rarely adult to adult communication. Don't get me wrong. So the miscommunications are parent to child. You do this, I'm not doing this. Parent to parent. You do this, you do this. Child to child. Just trying to control. It's just, the child to child doesn't work. The parent to child doesn't work. The parent to parent don't work. The parent to adult doesn't work. And the adult to child doesn't work. It's only adult to adult that works. And that is, like I say, taking all that information, everything that's available, depending on what the situation may be, whether it's like something that's happened between you and your partner, or between you and parents, or between you and a work colleague, or like just somebody on the street, like there's somebody, it's another body. But you both have to have presence of mind and emotional intelligence to be able to deal with the situation accordingly. The response equals the initial action. So If someone's swinging a sword at another person, I've got a sword and I've got this finger. If that sword's bearing down on that person's face, putting my finger there is not the right response. Do you know what I mean? It's the closer hand, so it's probably a reaction, knee-jerk reaction, bam. Or put my hand, I'd be better putting the, do you know what I mean? But just say this person's coming to flick my nose, once again, I've got a sword and I've got my finger, or this hand. If they're coming to flick my nose, it might be better for me to just move their hand rather than chopping their arm off, you know what I mean? Kill Bill in it up in here. So, but sometimes we do this, don't we? We will have like a disagreement, like just our partner upsets us, and rather just like displaying this thing, you know what I mean? That's annoying me. Like that, you're feeling annoyed, but you don't even know. If you don't know what you're feeling, then it's hard to respond, because you just know it's just something going off. It's like, you know, heart's going, blood's rushing. Do you know what I mean? Blood pressure's risen. Do you know what I mean? All kinds of stuff's like getting released in the brain. Like, so then it's just like it's battle stations. It's fucking, what's that? That's Kill Bill. That noise, that alarm, yeah. And all she's done is just said whatever, or he's just said, a man just froze the flipping, you know what I mean? Froze his tea into the flipping wall. Do you know what I mean? Froze his spaghetti bolognese. Kicks telly. You know what I mean? Rips blinds down. Like, or she, keep saying he, keep doing gender roles. And if you knew that it was only annoyance, or, you know what I mean? She just annoyed, like, oh, it's just that thing again. It's like, all right, love, that's, listen to me. Love, that's for every it's a man or a woman. Say, all right, love, you've annoyed me there. I'm feeling annoyed. Just give us 5 minutes and we can work it out. And if they react like in the adult appropriately, rather than just kicking off in the child, if they start like, what do you mean? Da-da-da-da-da. I want to always do it. That's reacting like a child. Or they might be like, no, you will not do that. They put into the parent. Whereas it's like, all right then, if someone said it to me, like, boom, I've said something, it's annoyed them, they tell me now they need 5 minutes, okay. I'm going to give you that 5 minutes. Or thereabouts. Might give half an hour. That might annoy me. But that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Because like, what is the arguing back and forth going to do? It's going to come to nothing. Do you know what I mean? And if we remember yesterday, balloon up in the corner, issue in the family, issue in the relationship or in the friendship or whatever. So back to the son's mum. We could speak on some levels adult to adult. I was always in the adult, by the way. And then there were some issues where she could not talk from the adult. She's trying to tell me how she wants it. Bearing in mind, I'm in prison, so... But regardless that I'm in prison, I'm still the man in front of you now. I'm still got like a level head on my shoulders. I've got a plan of action that I can't action because I'm in prison. I was on the same wave I'm on now, and I still had like 3.5 years left. Do you know what I mean? I still had half my sentence left. I just needed to get out to action it. So it's hard to show people what you're talking about or what you've got, what your plans are and how you've changed when you can't show them. You're just telling them. But even when I talk to people get where I'm at. Do you understand that I'm not who I was? Do you understand that like my focus and that is not where it used to be? Like man are talking about, yo, I'm like, not really. Straight away, as soon as man say, yo, you want to spliff, man? You want to sing? He's like, nah. I'm thinking, what? Straight away. That's like a flag. I don't know what colour the flag is when someone's doing a positive, when they're not doing what you used to, or what they used to do. It's like, that's like a thing that's like, well, this, and then start talking about something else. I'm like, yeah, but worry. Do you know what I mean? And I start talking on some next wave, like about the States beef, and that man's not talking about shredding, man, and that man's talking about, well, you know, obviously they're upset too. Man's coming from their point of view. Man's coming from the ops point of view. Because it's true. Of course I'm going to be upset. That's why they're going off sick. Do you know what I mean? I want to do X, Y, and Z to you, like, whatever. Anyway, so, yeah, they just couldn't. If she's not throwing a strap in the child, she's trying to tell me what to do. But I'm like, hold on. I just want to know how I'm going to see him, what's what, and how it's going to, like, work into my life, because I want to build my life around him kind of thing. Bear in mind, big up the girl still, because she's doing a great job with my son. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's all mad. But, so it's not a kick down thing, but this is what happened. So in the end, I decided to walk away because I'm thinking I can't keep, like, because it's not an adult to adult, because there's no compromise. Being in like the ultimate, and the compromise is, like I say, taking in all information. Because I wouldn't acquiesce, or because I wouldn't give in, acquiesce is like give in basically, because I won't give in to what she's saying because it didn't work for me. So I'm like, and this is what I've said before, like it don't have to be 50-50, it don't have to be like 70-30, it could literally be 99-1. Like she could get 99% of the things she wants, but I just need that 1% change, like that time change or date, or there's something that's a little bit different, like, do you know what I mean? Like not 5, like quarter past, and that makes it work. But no, well, I don't know then. It's like, what don't you know? Like, what? I haven't, like, what? Like, but yeah, so that's what made that. I'm not being controlled. I'm not compromising my mental health or my well-being. And that's that. I just had to like cut it out. I just couldn't, like, because it's just too much. Like, I just cut all negative people out. That's it. That's top and bottom of it, basically. But yeah, that's another one. But yeah, so adult to adult. If it's not adult to adult, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And then that's how we get into these. So when we're fighting people all the time, that's just a child and child. That's just two children. You've seen children when you put them together, like when they're like under 2 or 3, because you have no sense of the selfish. They've got only a sense of, is it selfish? I think they've only got a sense of self. Everything's me, 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 I want. It's that I want that they have. They don't understand. They don't understand others yet. I think that comes at like 7, something like that. But some people stay there. And because that's because the people that we were taught by are there. Do you know what I mean? So whether it's a gang situation, or there's a regular group of friends, or like a toxic workplace, your own family, like there is no growing up. You're just throwing tantrums and that. At like 18 stone of flipping solid muscle with capabilities of flipping of a heavyweight boxer or something, do you know what I mean? So it's a little bit different than a kid throwing his tantrum, but it's just a tantrum, do you know what I mean? Because you can't communicate with words yet. If you're fighting and stuff and in some mad beef, even if it's just a some catty gal thing, yeah, you can't effectively communicate. And maybe you can. Because we're like, just if I go back to me and my BM, like I couldn't get through to her because she'd just be like, oh, what it's like, but that's irrelevant, because what it's turning into now is a point scoring thing. What's the point scoring about? Like, that's pointless. There's no forward movement then. So yeah, bit of a mad sidebar. Once again, big up the BM for doing a good job with the son, my son. Bringing it back. Go to my mother now. So my mum, she's got like, I mentioned some like mental health issues due to, like I say, hard life pressures and stuff. It happens. People go down a lonely road. And so I'm in the house with her. I live with her. Like I said, my brothers are older, so I'm on my own with her. She has these mental health issues that I don't understand because I'm a kid. And she's kind of hot or cold. She's either loving or drunk and cold, like not bothered. Do you know what I mean? There is no food, there is no love, there is no care. I can't even talk to her. She just shout at me. She's on the phone. She just cares about talking to her friends and pouring another drink or whatever. Due to obviously what she's going through, that's her way of coping. So it's not an excuse, it's just the reason. Anyway, then there's also the being alright and then being shouted at to death. So like this, like it's almost like bipolar, but it's not. She's not that bipolar. So then I've got this like, I'm okay or I'm furious. I'm okay and furious. So another thing that happens, obviously not everybody, but there is some misdiagnoses and misprescribing of medication to people that they say got depression, anxiety, or bipolar, but it's an emotional thing. Because like I said before on another pod, I've thought that I've had mental health issues. Well, not to that I haven't. I have, because we all have. I have, and I could have gone that because I'm not a pill taker type guy. I'm just a hay fever and paracetamol type of guy. So I'm not really a pill taker like that. I don't like. So if I was on it and they gave me some out of the took it, and I spoke about before how we prefer that to actually taking control of our own, because we can just take this pill and live our own mash up lives that are impacting our mental health. and feel like, it's whatever, like calm and whatever. But we don't want to do the things that would help it properly, like lifestyle stuff, like cut that food out, go to the gym, cut them friends out, don't mentally entertain them ideas. Know that's your brain and you control your brain. Think about something else. Have a focus. Do you know what I mean? Because when you've got no focus, mind wanders, and it wanders on where the feelings are. If you're feeling shit, it's going to think about shit things. You're going to think about worry and this and that. You're watching madness on telly, listening to the news, it's all mad. But in your own, looking at your window, you can't see madness. But yeah. So, but I did the TC and it cleared me up like madly. And that's why I'm saying about certain things that I understand now, like absolutist and the likes. I'll try and put them all together, as many as I can think of, to compile like where the faulty thinking. So it's just faulty thinking. And then just getting into like negative patterns of behaviour. So it's the faulty thinking mixed with that. But that's not everybody. Don't get me wrong. It's not everybody. There's a spectrum. Like there's people that will need it, and there's people that are on it that don't really need it. It's just an emotional thing. They've got bad emotional, difficult controlling emotions and bad emotional management. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, because of me mimicking my mum's mental health behaviours, I could go to the doctors and present and explain my experiences, and he would think that I've got basically her diagnoses. So then you can also understand on two separate veins of, yes, mental health being genetic, but then also mental health being nurture, not nature, because it's what I've been seeing. Because even if I was, I'm a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, yeah, being raised by someone with mental health issues that's going off alarming, and I'm fostered or I'm adopted, it's not my genetics. I'm not genetically predisposed to be like this person because we're not the same. So it would be the nurture. I think you can see what I'm getting to there. So yeah, anyway, so that's where my initial early stages of my blueprint, parents are your blueprint of how you act. So they're like my contrasting behaviours. So I'd have like the kind of nastiness of like the thing with like my mum, and then like the violence would kind of be like with my dad and stuff, and it's like literally hero here, do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's the bit I didn't put into the difficulty controlling emotions. But I'm going to go on a break and come back, and I'm going to finish off with, or get into the meat of it, should I say, with controlling and domineering behaviour. And we're recording Marcus DQ Lifestyle Podcast, and we're going to get into the meat of it now, which is controlling and domineering behaviour. I kept saying dominating in the first bit, but yeah, controlling and domineering behaviour. So what control and domineering is. So being controlling is obviously controlling things like externally, even internally, like your feelings. I was talking to you before about how some people might be like, feel something, be like, be angry and just kind of push it down. Just moving the mic. Yeah. So that's controlling how you're feeling. And then there's controlling behaviour. You can't do this, you can't do that. Or there's like being like, having like a controlled lifestyle, like being disciplined times 10. So like you only do this, you only do that, whatever. Some controls are alright. Like control could be like time management, make sure you're on time and stuff, having a schedule, sticking to it. But like always being able to be flexible. Remember, if there's flex, you know what I mean? If it's rigid, it breaks. And that's why we find ourselves, oh man, I'm sweating, twit me a twit. Just done some garden work. I'm literally just got out of the shower, as I always do, mainly like every time I jump on these pods, I've literally just come out of the shower, so I'm always probably like glistening, like I'm twit, but it's all cream and, you know what I mean? Anyway, so that's control. Domineering is like being overbearing, like being over somebody, like kind of thing. How can I say? Like a bit like under thumb or domineering. It's like dominating. Dominating is domineering, I believe. Just like a derivative, same word, or same meaning. So yeah, being domineering is like being overbearing, like controlling someone still, do you know what I mean? But it's about being over them. So yeah, so won't forget to take it back to childhood on this one. And I'm not hoping for this second bit to be too long, but I fucking waffle on, don't I? But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeah, so no, one thing I've always been funny with food. So I was asking my therapist now, like, why am I funny with food? Like my mum says, like up until I was about 2 or 3, I used to eat everything, and all of a sudden I used to sit, like be with her when she's cooking as well. And she tasted, I tasted this and that, everything. And then all of a sudden she said, I was like, no. And she says, a lot of children, the only thing a child can really control is what goes in their mouth, like what they eat and drink. So typically when something happens, some kind of trauma or something, they stop eating, or like they do something, or they might overeat, but it's mainly like they'll stop eating, they restrict their diet because it's some kind of control that they've got. They'll eat when they're ready, not when you want them to. And yeah, so there's a couple of instances. There's one night when I ate like the stalk of a plant. I almost like, my dad bought my mum some flowers. She used to cut the bottoms off. And I was at that stage where you just put everything in your mouth. Like, it's like, as an adult, you know what everything tastes like. You know that, I mean, that plastic like remote tastes like. You know what that pen tastes like. You've just, as a kid, you just put beer things in your mouth, don't you? And I must have seen that stalk. Sniffed it, didn't smell alright, but I took some. Oh my days, it was terrible. What was the other one now? So from there, I've always been funny with tastes, and there was something else. If I remember, you know what I'll do? I'll just add it on to the next one when I remember. Oh, alhamdulillah. Not a burp this time. Sneeze me, I sneeze. Yeah, there was another one, so maybe that's what to do with it. But I also obviously seen some violence in the household and stuff, and so maybe it's that. Not too sure fully with that one. But yeah, controlling and domineering behaviour. Dad was controlling, speaking about some stuff yesterday, about difficult controlling emotions and how he was emotional. That's, you have to do what he says. If you don't do what he says, you're gonna get smacked. But still, big up daddy. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's no resentment to all that. That's just how it was. Like I say, these people haven't been through the university of parenting and got mad understanding. They've been parented a certain way, and then they parent a certain way. It's just how it goes. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can relate if you look at your own parents, your grandparents, and typically we're like our grandparents as well, yeah, because they've gone through all that, like they've done all the mad stuff. What our parents are doing to us, like because our parents normally have a bit of a thing with the grandparents, but we love our grandparents, and that's because for one, we're not their grandparents as we're not their problem. And obviously, as you get older, you mature naturally, the natural one. Like things are coming to you, and you realize your mistakes and what you should have done, and like how your child eventually has turned out. You think, fucking hell, maybe if I did more of this and more of that. So they do that with the grandchildren. So that's why it's kind of good a lot of the times have been around grandparents. But don't get me wrong, I see a lot of things on Facebook where people hate grandparents. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's got their reasons. So it is what it is. Some people stay toxic forever. You know what I mean? Like, don't grow up one bit. No maturing, no personal development, no. Don't be that person. These pods are like is to get out of crime, to know there's a life after crime. We'll go into that more as I get all these domains out from the TC, like these domains of our life, like difficulty controlling emotions, like image, like dependent and passive behaviour, difficulty, like all that. I've said that already. But like controlling domain, these are all domains of our life. And that's why I say like they all link into one, because they all bleed in, because they're not isolated. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. That was like, yeah, so if you didn't do what he says, you get a clip, whatever. Simply, if you don't do what she says, you get shouted at. Like, there wasn't that like Tiger Woods parenting that I talk about at the beginning of this one, where they come down to your level and give you adult to adult. It's parent to child all the time, and that's not really conducive because it leaves us with stuff. Do you know what I mean? A lot of bad bosses, parent to child. A good boss, good manager will adult to adult you, talk to you, talk you through, not just try and control you and tell you what to do and do. Especially talk to you like you're a piece of shit. That's a bad manager. That is not good management, and that's not how management is. That's just how they do it. They're doing bad parenting. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, controlling and domineering. So what it is as well, we develop. So the control, the reason we control and domineer is for our safety. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Google it. So safety is the second. It's the second one from the bottom. So it's a pretty basic need. I think it is. There is a line, and they're the two basic needs. The physiological needs, which is one. Physiological being food, water, air, sex, homeostasis, meaning like your body's balanced, whether it's like it's warm, your body's cooler, and if it's cold, your body's warm. Do you know what I mean? It's like being balanced, not it being hot and you're super hot passing out, and not being cold and you're super homeostasis. Your body can regulate itself, not just weather, but it can regulate. And then it's safety needs, whether it's financial safety, safety of the body. I mentioned this before. So like you're not at risk of like sexual harm or physical harm, or even psychological harm, I guess. And yeah, that's your safety. You want to be safe. But growing up in certain households, when our parents have mental health issues, whether they're diagnosed or not, whether they've got drinking issues, drug issues, whether they've just got anger management issues, whether they're all right, but they bring like partners, like spiteful women or, violent or aggressive men. Our world, because as a kid, your home, you spend a lot of time at home as a child, and that's your whole world. That's your whole earth within that. Do you know what I mean? That's where you laugh, you cry, you're sad, you're happy. That's where you learn. That's where you play. That's where you eat. That's where you sleep. That's where you use the bathroom. Do you know, that's your place. And it has to be, the home has to be safe. And if it's not, it leaves us with residual stuff, meaning like a stain. There was something on my top. I've wiped the stuff off. There's something left. It's stained the t-shirt. There's residual stuff on the top, basically. And these stains, we won't call it a stain, this residual stuff is the trauma that's still with us. Like it's happening. Like it's happening now. It happened 40,000 days ago or something. Do you know what I mean? But it's like it happened 40 seconds ago. Do you know what I mean? Because the brain hasn't separated from the time. Do you know what I mean? That's why therapy can be good, to help you gain the real timeline of how distant it is, or even push it further away than it actually was. Not push it, that sounds forced, but enable you to have space between that and what's happening now. So the reason when we get into especially like relationships ourselves with partners, when I say relationships, I can mean between you and a friend, or you and a partner, you and your parents, you and the fucking postman. Do you know what I mean? Relationships are with everybody. Do you know what I mean? I know that typically mean like relationships means boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever, or just partners, not partners, but forget boyfriend and partners, sexual partners, whatever, loving partners. No, I'm on about across the board. You and your boy, you and your girls, you know what I mean? You and your kids, you and your like, family members, you and your teacher, you and anyone. It's just all relationships. You relate to people. It's how you relate. That's the key operative word in relationship, relate. Just how you relate to people. But at this moment in time, I'm on about partners. So if you get with someone that's angry and aggressive, if you become controlling with a partner, it's because you're trying to keep yourself safe. So that's what it is. So although the behavior is negative, it's somewhat touching in a way of yourself, because you're trying to protect yourself from being hurt, but it's not coming across that way. You're coming across angry and aggressive, and you're leaving people scared or injured or hurt. So that's a no-go. So that's when we need to look into ourselves and see, why am I doing this? Why do I keep trying to control this person? Why don't I want them to have another phone? What is it? Like, because to be like fear of loss, like not want that bereavement, like if you're gonna fear you're gonna lose them to like somebody else possibly. And it's basically rejection. That's what it's gonna boil down to. But there will be that fear of loss, being vulnerable, being hurt, being upset, not wanting to feel these feelings, because these feelings are taking you back to when it happened there. So you control the situation. If I've got his phone, if I've got his car keys, if I've got whatever, the house key even, ain't going nowhere. I've controlled him or her. Like, they ain't going nowhere. Like, if they're not listening, I break them down, and now they're listening so they don't get broken down. I've controlled them. Like, I feel safe now. They're not going to leave me. They're not going to cheat. They're not going to this. They're not going to that. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to feel these feelings. All for feelings. If you've not guessed what's going on here all the time, what I'm talking about, it's all feelings based. There's the motivation. If you didn't care, if you didn't have feelings, we wouldn't do all the mad stuff that we do, because it's all based on feeling. Feelings and emotions. So, yeah, and domineering is the same. That's just being domineering. Do you know what I mean? You're just over someone. Just like, just telling them what to do, just being on them. Do you know what I mean? So it was basically the same. Basically the same thing. That's why it's in the same category. Just like dependent and passive. Like they're not too. A passive person could be like dependent. Do you know what I mean? And well, yeah, it's just it's a bit different from that, but it's same as well. Same thing. Same. It's different as well. Same time. Do you know what I mean? Different and same. It's different or dim. You know what I mean? And yeah, so growing up with my situation, like I said, I've already mentioned how my mum was and this and that, and erraticness behaviour, this and that. So I would control things later on. So just say with a partner now. So that's my thingy with females. That's where with your male and female kind of model is off your mum and your dad. Or your parent. I always say that, but your caregivers. Could be grandparents or fosters or adoptive parents. So whoever your caregivers was, like, or whoever the main one was in your life, maybe it's your sister. Whoever was like that person in your life, that woman and that guy. So that's how you kind of base men and women forever, kind of thing. That's your model, your mental model. So if I'm with like Missus now and just said she don't cook me food, not now but then, before I learned all this stuff, I might kick off. Like I might be like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, oh, do you know what? Boom, because I don't even know what I'm feeling. But looking back, I know that I would have felt neglected because I was neglected back then when I didn't get fed. That's the only other time. When everything's happy and that, I am fed. So there's something going on. I'm at like battle stations. So the way I would control that situation is just to bounce. But go get myself some food. Or go somewhere else where I can get food, like control it. If I'm not saying, oh, good, do you know what I mean? Just make something, man. What's going on? Like, what? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I was just doing this. It's like, I just can't manage, can't handle it. Like, what the I'm going, do you know what I mean? I need to get out of here. Like mental reactions to something so similar, but because it's the trauma from the past of not being fed and then feeling like it's neglected and something's going to happen. This is a sign that something's going to happen here. So this is when sometimes we think that we're like mind readers and fortune tellers, where these are the signs that we think we can see, but they're not actually real. It's an old model that we're using. Because like, just say I didn't react like that, I probably could have spent the rest of my life with this girl happily and not had X amount of partners after. And it's just, so that's just how you'd control the situation. Being domineering would just be like constantly being on him. Like, I feel like I'm saying the same thing. I'm going to stick with the control because there's a bit more scope. It's a bit more scope with it. So that would be the reason. So now, understanding, when I understood, I went to see this guy. He always talk about control because some people like focus on certain bits. Because certain bits are like, just imagine like a pie chart of all these things that I talk about. Like I said, difficult controlling emotions. Because I'm looking at it, dependent and passive, controlling and domineering, image, relationship instability, all these things, all of them. Not just them, but more. There's more. Like, it don't mean to say it's an equal slice on the pie chart. Like, control could be like 55%. Image is kind of small for that person, and then other things that just fit in there somehow. Do you know what I mean? All of them are still on there, but different things are. So some people like fixate more on different things. I was like across the board. I'd probably say mine were quite equal, to be honest. But yeah, so I went to see a guy. He was always just talk about control. I went to see about control, and he was on about. He said, there were two people. One talking about good control, like I was saying earlier, like, you know, sticking to a schedule, having time management. So my time management's good now. Like, my eyes always be late, but now I like to get there early. Like, my anxiety used to make me late because I'd be worried I didn't want to go. And then I'd go late, and it made me feel worse because everyone's already there. Everyone's settled in, can barely find a chair or something or whatever. You'll walk past all these people. Like, the person might even bait you up, just like doing the thing or something. Just say it's something to do with education or whatever, or a job or whatever. Like, oh, nice of you to join us. So like, everyone's like, 50 heads just looking at you. Watching you walk across. Peak. Rather get there early. Do you know what I mean? Find my seat, maybe introduce myself to people, have a little chat, and I feel better having a lay of the land. And I'm looking at the fucking pussy hole coming in late. Hey, hello, nice to meet you, join. Anyway, so yeah, so that's like good control. What was he saying? No. So that's about control to explain it, because he was talking about earlier on in the group. So I went to his cell, and he broke it down, and I thought, whoa. What was it now? It was something to do. I can't remember exactly where it was. This is probably going to be the worst episode. But I can't fully remember where it is. But I had to apologise to a couple of people. Two of them one being my BM and one being my mum. And I said to say like, whoa, I didn't realise that I was like so like, getting upset and that, like expectations as well leads into it. Like getting upset if like people aren't like, let's say like on time or people aren't, and I'll start like dictating and just saying all kinds of madness. But shouting and going on, do you know what I mean? Being aggressive, like, because like I say, it's upsetting, but I'm not conveying my upset. I'm not saying I'm a bit disappointed that you're late, or I'm upset that you're late, like, or like every time you're late, it kind of like, it hurts me a little bit, like just not saying the real, just being like, getting angrier and angrier and angrier, because it's really the sadness and that I'm converting it into anger. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to feel them feelings there. I'm just getting upset and there's like, what's going on? Like, why can't you just be on time? Like, what's the fuck's up with you? Do you know what I mean? But I call them names and shit. Mental. I thought, whoa, like, and then obviously understanding where the control come in. It heard my story a little bit, because obviously you just talk about things at the beginning when you first get there. You just talk about childhood, talk about this, and people are like getting a feel for you and understanding. And because they know like the stuff already, like what I'm saying, they can kind of see, they can kind of guide you. They don't give you the answer because they want you to find it yourself, because that's more powerful. That's where the true change is, when you look into yourself and find your own answers. If you just get told like, oh, well, the reason you do that is because of it's like, oh, is it? He's carrying playing your game, or carrying smoking your cigarette, or carrying on your phone. Like, it don't mean nothing. But if you think, whoa, so that's what that is, yeah, that's the main model of it. Like, oh, so but where was happening in my life? Fucking hell, I did it there. I did it there and there and there, and it just starts racking up, and then you start feeling like ashamed. It gets heavy, man. It gets super heavy. But yeah, as I just jump on the phone, rung up my mum, rung up a couple of people, but like I said, my mum, my BM was like 2 people in particular. I don't think I spoke to my BM for a while before that. And that's what started it off again, because I'd found myself and I'd started this journey, like where I was coming into my adult, where I could just speak about things and let people speak, not domineer. Oh, that's where domineering comes in. So just say, when someone's trying to talk and you keep talking over them, someone's trying to talk, you're like, nah, fuck all that, yo, boom, 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 and you start firing off. You start firing off over the top. You're not letting them get out. They haven't finished one sentence because you keep talking. That's dominating. You're dominating the conversation. Do you know what I mean? Or even if you're in like a group of, like, just say you're at work or something, you're in like some training, and you're the one always talking. You're dominating the group. Like, not dominating as in like, I'm the strongest, but there's only room for you, it seems, because you're the conversation, because people are being like respectful or whatever. You're not giving no chance for others to have the floor. Do you know what I mean? So that's like domineering, or just like say someone's speaking and you overstep them. Anytime you're overstepping someone, you're domineering. And like I said, it's mainly in conversation, or definitely in arguments. You've seen it a million times on fucking Jeremy Kyle, and you're definitely doing it in your own life when you're like arguing with someone, you're trying to talk. They're trying to talk, you're not letting them talk. Do you know what I mean? So it's a big thing, stopping and letting people get out what they need to say. So that was like a big thing, like, whoa, I do that to death. I don't let people speak. Like, what? Like, one, there's no respect. You're not showing no respect if you're just not letting people speak. Do you know what I mean? And then if you allow people to speak, then you probably can get like something out of them to where you are getting some answers. Do you know what I mean? And then the other thing is, obviously, if you're dealing with lies, you're dealing with lies, and that's it. And that's the people that you're around, don't be around them people. But also, having the ability to be able to take people at face value at what they're saying. Because even now, when I'm out now, I'll be talking to somebody, and they'll be like, oh, well, this and that. And I'm like, but I didn't say that. Yeah, but and they're trying to tell me what I've said. It's like, but I did not say that. I said it even the beginning. I don't mean X, Y, and Z. And like, all right. And then you carry on talking. It's like, but you say, it's like, well, no, I just said it at the beginning. That's not what I'm saying. I'm being honest with you right now. But people can't handle honesty, and they don't believe it. Once again, through fear that it's not keeping them safe. So they like protect themselves with like kind of battle. And it's just fearing that this lie, alleged lie, is going to do X, Y, and Z to them. Something's going to happen to them. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, when I realised how I was in like controlling and stuff, and like I say, it wasn't because they're trying to me I'm controlling, and I'm saying I'm not controlling. Like, she can wear whatever she wants. She can go out with her friends whenever she wants. Because that's what I thought controlling was. When it's beyond that, that's just like, once again, it's just media stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's what you see like on whatever, and you know, all the extreme cases that are on TV and that, before the guy fucking kills the woman or something mad. Like, she couldn't do this and she couldn't do that and or whatever. She was beautiful and then she couldn't wear makeup or whatever. Like, no. I thought, I don't do none of that. Like, what are you talking about? But like these other little bits. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's not full-blown control freak, but still, you're kind of guiding people for your own fears and like traumas to go a certain way, but then they're not being their true authentic self. And we need to let people be. Like I say, if you feel like you have to control someone, don't be with them. Why can't you be with them? Fear of being alone. That's sadness, like deep sadness. You call it depression, but you're not depressed. You're deeply sad. You just don't know how to cope with it. But yeah, I want to keep this one short anyway. Come, me have things to do, Shatty. Me have to go limp me dad and go get some food round there. Big up my mum, big up my dad. Still getting like good messages from people and stuff, so I respect that. Thank you, you know, it means something. Yeah, that's it. Marcus, the Q&Q Lifestyle Podcast.